Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 21 of February. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. So guys, in the today's video, we'll be taking up the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. Also, we'll see if there are some relevant articles in the Indian Express explained section. Okay guys, meanwhile, the explainer PDF that I will be using here, you can download the explainer PDF from the Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the entire newspapers and let's try to understand that which articles will be relevant for our examination and which articles are not very much necessary. So first of all, we'll see the Indian Express explained section. The first article, China's revisionism on 1962. So basically, an alternative version of the 1962 India-China war has been Indo-Sino-India war has been written by a daughter of the former military commander. Okay, so basically, she is telling that how the China was basically the all the actions of China in the 1962 were in the spirit of the self-defense and all such kind of thing has been provided. So that particular narrative has been provided here in this particular article. However, guys, with respect to the examination point of view, much of importance is not there into this particular article. If you want just for your leisure, you can read it. Bicycle in bombings, a short history. So recently Prime Minister has equated some of the terrorist attacks into the past with the political parties symbol. So such a kind of a thing is there. Again, with respect to the examination, nothing is very much important into this particular article also, so please ignore it. So now moving to the Hindu newspaper, and in the Hindu newspaper there is a text and the context section that is there. Now in this text and the context section, the first article is talking about the despotic nature of the Prevention of the Money Laundering Act. So we'll see that what is the issue, because from past few days again and again the PMLA is coming into the news. We'll see this. Then further, after that, the next article is talking about the comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the India and UAE. We'll be reading about this particular article and we'll see that what is important here. Then after that, moving on the next page, do unemployment benefits delay work. So in the USA, there is a narrative that has been built that the unemployment benefits that have been given by the federal government into the USA in the wake of pandemic, it is making people lazy. People now don't want to work, and into this particular direction, there were some of the surveys that have been carried. So basically, it is talking about whether into the USA such kind of thing is true or not. However, guys, with respect to the USA only, the provisions have been provided here. Then further moving on, we'll reach to the first page of the Hindu newspaper, and here we can see that the polling trends into the Punjab, Uttar Pradesh has been mentioned. Fine, nothing very much important with respect to the examination here. Rethink impractical projects. So basically, in the Munich security conference, there are certain comments that have been passed. Okay, and the reply has been given by the Minister of External Affairs. We'll see this particular article what has been provided. Then Putin Macron agrees to work for the ceasefire in East Ukraine. So basically, we are seeing continuously from past few days how the Ukraine, Russia, all these particular things are repeatedly coming into the news. So to ease of the tension over the Ukraine, now the France and Russia are saying that we are working in that direction. Okay, however, apart from that, nothing much is there. Then in the city section, okay, the advertisements, etc., regional news, okay, opening of the universities, etc., has been talked about, and nothing is very much important. Moving on in this particular direction, guys, a lot of advertisements, etc., has been given. However, here we can see that a important article is there with respect to removal of the governors, okay, by the state governments. We'll see what is provided here. Then further, moving on in this particular direction, we reach to the editorial page. So first editorial is talking about tapping technology for the multilingual learning. We'll see this particular article. Then the budget fells green shoots of agriculture subsectors. We'll see this article. Then guys, this article, it is talking about the recent NSE fiasco, clear, where the CEO and the MD of here, find Chitra Ramakrishnan, she has been accused of some kind of an irregularities that are there, and a kind of a scam is unfolding here. So this is article is talking about that unfolding scam. Okay, however, with respect to the UPSC, please don't see into this particular article. Okay, then further moving on, no slacking. Now this particular article is talking about the need that India should India should up its guard against the antimicrobial resistance. So we'll see this article. It is an important article. A nexus fostering the Muslim authoritarianism. Now guys, this particular article, it is talking about how the Islam Islam state relationship fine should be redesigned. Okay, in this particular direction many of the references from the religious text, okay, the Islamic religious text fine, and how they have actually guided the statecraft, it has been provided. So guys, basically into this article a lot of theocratic references have been given. So for that particular purpose, much of importance for exam is not there into this particular article. However, if you want to read it for leisure, you can read it on an equal footing. Now this particular article says that the energy as well as the petroleum needs to be brought into the GST. Then the storm abates, scarce remains. So basically this article is talking about the political basically the political issues going on into the West Bengal. Then further moving on, rethink impractical projects, we'll see this article what has been provided here. Then guys, further moving on after that, the assembly polls, this entire page is devoted to the political developments that have been there. Now this article, very few buses accessible to disabled, we'll see this article with respect to the vulnerable sections. Now then the leprosy, find this article is also will be going to see with respect to the health issues. And then the center moods policy on the synthetic biology, fine. So we'll be seeing all these articles, they are important for our examination. Then on the world page, Russia Belarus extends military drills, okay, Nepal, fine. Now basically these articles guys, they are basically talking as how into the aftermath of the Eastern European crisis that is going on, crisis onto the Ukraine is going on. Basically day-to-day developments have been provided into this particular line. Further moving on, then after that, the Iran MPs set condition for nuclear deal. So the joint comprehensive plan of action, was a nuclear deal that was signed between the Iran and P5+1 countries. Okay, however that particular deal was basically that deal basically it was scrapped after the USA withdrew from it. Now again there are the attempts made that the joint comprehensive plan of action, again a new deal needs to be imposed onto the Iran with respect to their nuclear policy. Now onto that particular thing, it has provided that the MPs, they have came out with some kind of conditions. Then thereafter comes the money wise page. So today on Monday, business page doesn't come. So this money wise page contains the advices with respect to the investing and all such kind of things. Clear? Then further moving on, we have the sports page. So this is all about the important articles in this today's entire newspaper. And now let's see the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, as we start our every class with the GS quote, so today we'll be taking the quote from Lord John Boyd. Now, the Lord John Boyd has said that the peace can't be built on empty stomachs. Peace can't be built on the empty stomachs. So he had said that the hunger, it is the removal of the hunger is a precondition of building the peace. When the hunger is not addressed, hunger leads to frustration, frustration leads to confrontation, and these confrontation leads to conflicts, and these conflicts are antithetical to world peace. So therefore, if peace has to be brought, first of all you need to address the most basic need of survival, that is you need to ensure that the food security is there. So this is a kind of a very it is actually a kind of a very impactful quote where the peace and the peace as well as the hunger have been called as the part and parcel of the same problem. So this is all about it. We can use that kind of a quote in essays as well as GS paper number 2 and 4. So that is all about the GS quote. And now first of all, let's see the MCQ answers from the previous newspaper analysis, that is on to the 19th of February. So the question number 1, the correct answer is A. You can read the explanation here. You can just pause the video. The question number 2, correct answer is B. You can again pause the video and you can see the answer and you can match whether you are getting the questions right or not. Fine. Now taking up the today's MCQs questions. So today's MCQ question, the first question has been taken from the National Education Policy 2020. Now when we talk about the NEP 2020, very important thing from the past 2 years, and the question can be expected. Now read all the statements and identify the statements that have been given. You can pause the video and you can mark these questions, and please write your answers into the comment box. Okay, make it a habit of doing it so that you are reading and recalling the facts. Then the question number 2, consider the following statements. So basically it is talking about the different types of hydrogen. Okay, because recently the national green hydrogen policy has been announced by the government. So because of that, this issue becomes important. So please read these statements and identify the correct option. Clear? Please pause the video, and or this entire PDF also you can download from the Telegram channel. So please mark and write your answers. Now, taking up the first article. So the despotic nature of the PMLA. This article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper. This article has been taken from the Hindu newspaper, and this article will be relevant for the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. Find the legislative issues. Legislative issues. Okay. In the GS paper number 2, the critical appraisal of the different laws and legislations have been mentioned. There we can use it. Now guys, first of all, let's understand the background of this particular article. So guys, the background is like this, that what has happened, the opposition parties find they have raised a particular point that the government again and again is using the Prevention of the Money Laundering Act 2002 for the political purposes. Is it clear or not? Anyone who is not towing the line of the government, they are being slapped by the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, and basically the Enforcement Directorate, ED. Enforcement Directorate is the nodal agency to implement and to prosecute the people under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So this particular organization has also become politicized. Okay, this particular issue is coming. Few days back also this particular article was raised. Now guys, let's understand what is this entire Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. And as money laundering happens to be a very big internal security challenge also, in GS paper number 3 also this thing will be important. So first of all, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, it was enacted in 2002. Why it was enacted? First of all, because India had made a global commitment. Fine, there was the Vienna Convention. Now the Vienna Convention has provided this particular thing that the money laundering is to be reduced. Now guys, first of all, what is the money laundering? Couple of days back I had already explained you. Money laundering is this: let's say there is a person A. Now this person A has earned some money from illegal activities, for example the drug trade, or from some any other illegal business of extortion, etc. He had earned some illegal money. So in the money laundering, now the laundering means cleaning. So in the money laundering, what he will do, he will basically be hiding the source of this particular money. He'll be going for the layering. Okay, basically he will be going for the different layering processes by which he will show that the money has actually been earned from the legitimate source. Is it clear or not? He will first of all be putting this money into the financial system, into the banks. He will be putting this money. Let's say he had earned 1 lakh rupees. So what he will be doing, he will be making small parts of this 1 lakh rupees, let's say 1,000 rupees each. So 1,000 rupees he will be depositing into the 100 of the banks. Then these particular money, it will be basically this particular money will be rotated from one account to another account, then another account to yet another account. Okay, into this particular way, so many times the money will be transferred that the original trail of the money will be lost, and then there will be basically then that particular money will be reintroduced back into the economy. It will be shown that the money has been earned by some of the legitimate source. So this is the money laundering. Now this money laundering has been made has actually been addressed by this Prevention of Money Laundering Act, because the Vienna Convention says that the governments need to take action into this particular direction. Now guys, there are many of the conventions also that India is trying to follow by enacting this Prevention of the Money Laundering Act. There is the United Nations Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance 1988. So this particular convention provides that we need to come out with such a law. Then there is the Basel Statement of Principles 1989. Then there are the 40 recommendations given by the Financial Action Task Force on money laundering in 1990. So as a part of it also, we have come out with this particular act. Now guys, the Pakistan has not followed the recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force. Therefore, they have been added into the grey list also. But India is a clean country because we have come out with such a kind of a law. Then there is also the Political Declaration and Global Program of Action adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. Now this was in 1990. After that, the resolution was passed at the UN special session on countering the world drug problem together, and all these particular conventions that have been there to follow it, we have passed this Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Now guys, though the act has been passed, but basically the offenses under which a person could be booked under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, these offenses are very wide, and actually there is a lot of ambiguity also, fine, with respect to the offenses that are there, and taking the advantage of it, the politicization of this particular act has happened. Now there are certain data that have been shared which have actually provided that there might be a kind of a wrong use of this particular act is going on. Now according to a finance ministry report, it has been provided that the enforcement directorate who carries the implementation of this particular act, it has conducted nearly 1700 raids between 2011 and 11 to 2020. Okay, and the special investigation has been carried in more than 1550 cases, but up till now only the 9 people's conviction has been secured. The conviction of only 9 people has been secured out of these 1700 raids have been made. So what it provides, it provides that actually the conviction rate is very much less, and many of the innocent people, they are being raided again by using this PMLA. Recently also we have seen that the arrest of the relatives of the some of the politicians from opposition party have also been made. Now further it has been provided that when under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act a raid is being made, okay, or when a person is being booked under the violation of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, then for that particular person Enforcement Case Information Report, ECIR report, is prepared. Now this ECIR report is equivalent of an FIR, which contains the charges which have been slapped on a person or why he is being investigated. All these detail is there into this ECIR report, but this ECIR report is not shared with the person who has been charged. So this person doesn't knows for the purpose for which he is being investigated, and into this particular thing many a times the harassment happens. Now this particular thing has provided that this PMLA is being invoked against the political rivals or the dissenters, and here the process is itself the punishment. Okay, at the end of the day whether you will be punished or not doesn't matter, as the process is very much torturing. So therefore against the political rivals such kind of an act is being used. So therefore there is a need that the elaborate objective standard operating procedures are needed to be released for such kind of an act, so that the political abuse doesn't happen. So all these are the issues with respect to it. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now this article, it says the comprehensive economic partnership agreement between the India and UAE, it is being discussed here. Now this particular article will be important for our GS paper number 2, international relations. A couple of days back already we have discussed this particular article also. Okay, now we have seen this particular thing that the free trade agreement between the India and UAE has been signed. Okay, the free trade agreement between the India and the UAE has been signed. So free trade FTA, basically what it does, let's say there are the two countries, country A and country B. Now when the goods are being exported and imported, there will be the custom duties that will be imposed in between. Because of these custom duties, the goods become expensive in the another country. Now under the free trade agreement, the countries come together and they say that they will not discriminate with the other countries' products. Unnecessary custom duties will not be imposed, unnecessary taxes will not be imposed. So this is the purpose of the FTA, free trade agreement. Now India and UAE had signed the free trade agreement, which is called as the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA. Is it clear? Now this CEPA has been signed in a virtual summit which has been led by the Prime Minister of India. Now guys, when we talk about the UAE, it has been a very important partner for India because there are the cultural ties that are there between the India and UAE. After that there are the economic ties. Okay, this economic ties is because of the reason, because there are the large number of remittances that come from UAE to India. When we talk about the remittances, then it has been provided that the 82% of India's total remittance, it come from the 7 countries in the Gulf region. Okay, 7 of the countries in the Gulf region, and into these Gulf regions 7 countries, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman and Kuwait are the countries which from where the top remittances are coming. Okay, so cultural ties are there, economic ties are there, people to people ties are also there. More than 3 million of the Indians are working into the diverse sectors, into the different sectors into the UAE. So because of such rich ties, now we have carried the FTA between the two countries. Then now it has been provided that when this CEPA is being talked about, it will cover more than 90% of India's export to the UAE. It will be covering the goods as well as it will also be covering the services. Is it clear? And it has been provided that by signing this FTA, India's trade with the UAE will get a boost, and the boom of $15 billion. Okay, more than $15 billion additional trade between the India and UAE will happen here. Moreover, there are strong provisions into this particular act so that the strong anti-dumping measures are also there. Now, what strong anti-dumping measures are there? See, basically, guys, suppose there is a country, China. There is a country, China. Now, the China, it now, China basically, let's say it is dumping some of the cheap made products into the India. Now that products that the China is making, what China is doing, China basically the production cost, let's say in the China, is very much less, and because the cost is very much less, and in India there is a vibrant manufacturing sector of the same product. In order to cripple the India's manufacturing, what can China do? China can dump their cheap made products into the India, so that the Indian manufacturers, they will not be able to sell their expensive products. Is it clear? So the dumping is carried by many times by the countries, and in order to prevent this particular dumping, anti-dumping tax or anti-dumping duty is imposed on such kind of products. Now guys, into this particular act, there are the anti-dumping measures that are there. It has been made sure that a third country is not first of all exporting the good to the UAE, and from UAE they are not coming to the India just for the purpose of dumping. So the anti-dumping provisions have also been added here. There are very strong rules of origin clauses also that are there. Now, rule of origin means that let's say a country is exporting the good to the B country. Then this A country has to show the rule of origin certificate. Into this rule of origin, it will be said that the good has been manufactured into this A country only. So the rule of origin certificates have to be shown. Very strong rules are there. It is also so that a third country is not first of all supplying the product here and then to the another country. So the strong rules of origin clauses have also been added. Now, as this particular FTA was being signed, the Prime Minister of India has also mentioned about the Western Quad, which actually makes the UAE again a very special partner. Now, what is this Western Quad? Now, the Western Quad consists of the four countries, that is the Israel, India, UAE and the United States. Now, in this Western Quad, the UAE is there. So, therefore, now this FTA, it is also very much special. Now, this Western Quad has become possible because, guys, what had happened? Actually, in the 2020, there were the Abraham Accords that were passed. Because of this Abraham Accords, the normalization of relation has happened between the UAE as well as Israel. And as the normalization of relation between the Israel and UAE had happened, now all of them are comfortable coming together, and this Western Quad is there. Okay, here also we will be cooperating. Okay, now because of such kind of thing also, the UAE is an important partner. Okay, and all these particular possibilities, all these low hanging fruits will be achieved by this free trade agreement that has now been signed. So this is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Allow removal of governors, Kerala government. Now see, this article will be important for GS paper number 2, constitutional and legislative issues. Constitutional and the legislative issues. Okay, so over the past few months, we have seen this particular thing that the position of governor has become more and more controversial. Now, what is the controversy that is coming in this particular direction? We have seen that the center government has used the governor, fine, to stall the developments, to stall certain of the laws which are being framed by the states. Particularly when the states are being ruled by the opposition parties, there the position of governor has been used again and again by the center. And in this particular direction, the tussle between the governor and chief minister into the West Bengal is going on. Then the tussle is going on between the governor and the chief minister into the Tamil Nadu. It is going on. It is into the Kerala. It is going on. Maharashtra. It is going on. And many of these controversies we have seen repeatedly many a number of times. In this particular direction now, the Kerala government has proposed this particular thing that over the governor, the chief ministers needed to be given some kind of a supervisory control. They have provided that when we talk about the governor has been called as the constitutional imperatives, Fine, they are holding the constitutional positions. The Kerala had asked that there needs to be a national legislation, a law should be brought by which the governor should not only be appointed by the center, he should not be the agent of the center. Rather, the states need to be given a power that they can elect the governor via a representative electoral college. So there needs to be an electoral colleges, and amongst that, one person needs to be elected by a governor by the state government. Then here it has been provided that the center should also empower the state governors, that if the governor is not able to uphold the constitutional values, if the governor is not able to uphold the constitutional role, then the governor can be removed by the state government. The state governments want the process of impeachment of the governor. Now many of the important roles have been given to the governor, such as he have been given a role to discharge the chancellor's duties. So if he is not able to discharge the chancellor duties, if he is basically bringing an impediment into the criminal prosecution measures, he should be removed. Such powers needs to be given to the state government. After that it has been provided that basically we have seen that into the past many of the suggestions have been made. For example, the person who needs to be selected as a governor should not be into the active politics. Now the state governments provide that the center should divest such kind of things. They demanded that pursuing active politics should not be a disqualifying factor from being considered for the governor. What happens here? Now the state government wants more and more power to choose the governor, so therefore they want that even the person with active political life should be eligible to stand for governor in such kind of a thing. Moreover, they have said that now the center should keep the states into the loop while appointing the governors. So many of the powers with respect to the governor's conduct are being asked by the different governments, and specifically the governments which are being ruled by the opposition parties, because of the tussle that is going on. Now understand this particular thing. To appoint the governor, there is a particular constitutional process that has been there. Though the process can be revised, that is a possibility which is envisaged into the Constitution of India. But at the same time, guys, rather than going for overhauling the entire structure, we need to first explore that how the two constitutional functionaries, that is the chief minister and the governor, can work with the cooperation rather than the confrontation. So first that route needs to be more explored, and if it doesn't works, then such kind of things can be carried. So this is all about this particular article. Fine, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, the article No Slacking, it is taken from the Hindu newspaper, and it is talking about the antimicrobial resistance in India, and therefore it will be important for the GS paper number 2 issues related to health. It will be important to GS paper number 2 issues related with the health. Now let's understand first of all that what this particular article is talking about. Now first of all, before going in it, we'll see the background. So guys, the antimicrobial resistance has become a very problematic thing. In this particular direction, recently the Lancet has released a report, and the name of the report is the Lancet's Global Burden of Bacterial Antimicrobial Resistance. According to this particular report, it has been provided that nearly 4.95 million or around 5 million people have died because of the antimicrobial resistance in 2019 alone. Now what is this bacterial antimicrobial resistance? Now guys, basically a person, okay, let's say there is a person. Now this particular person, if he gets any infection or any bacterial infection, he can be treated by giving him some of the antibiotics, okay, and the many of the bacterial infections can be removed by giving such antibiotics. But over the period of time, there is an antimicrobial resistance that comes into a person. What happens? Basically the pathogens or the bacteria, they become resistant to such antibiotics. Now why these pathogens are becoming resistant to these antibiotics? Because of the excessive consumption of these antibiotics. The people are getting exposed to the antibiotics, and over the period of time a resistance will be developed. Is it clear? Now it has been provided that such resistance is coming because of many of the factors. Number one, indiscriminate use of antibiotics. Doctors are recommending it. People are using antibiotics indiscriminately. Over the counter availability of the antibiotics is there. Fine. Secondly, poor hygiene and sanitation is there. Because of this poor hygiene and sanitation, many a times the people are getting exposed to the many kind of toxins, many such kind of components. Okay. Then after that, basically there is a lot of antimicrobial usage into the farming and the poultry industry. Now the chickens, okay, they are fed with the antibiotics so that they gain weight. Okay. And when the people are consuming such poultry products, they are also getting exposed to those antibiotics that were fed to the poultry, to the chickens. So because of all these particular things also, the antibiotics resistance is increasing. Then there is a lack of vaccines, and there are many of the new antibiotics that are coming. Okay. Then there are the poor infection control practice in hospitals also. So in hospitals, to control the infections, basically antibiotics sprays, disinfectants are being used, which are getting exposed to the people, and people are developing the antibiotic resistance. Now it has been provided that India has actually become active against this antimicrobial resistance in 2008. What happened in 2008? In 2008, NDM1 enzyme was discovered in India. Now this NDM1 enzyme is something which renders bacteria resistant to the different antibiotics. Now this NDM1 was discovered in India, and then the India came in action, and India released its antimicrobial resistance action plan in 2017. And the state governments were also asked that they need to release their state action plan for this antimicrobial resistance. Fine. Kerala and the Madhya Pradesh has already released their state action plan, but many other states, they have not come up till now. So the article provides that the state governments need to become more proactive and should work in this particular direction. Moreover, when we talk about this antimicrobial resistance, there is also the Chennai Declaration that is there. Now the Chennai Declaration has been endorsed by a group of doctors and the healthcare institutions against these antimicrobial resistance. In 2012, this Chennai Declaration was endorsed, and the governments were asked to come out with the action plans against these antimicrobial resistance. So therefore, now we need to become more proactive because of this lengthened report that has been released. It is an eye opener in this particular direction. So basically, we need many times the scientific evidences have supported this particular thing, that there is a positive correlation between the antimicrobial resistance and the poor hygiene. When the poor hygiene is there, okay, many a times the humans, they are getting exposed to the antibiotics which are flowing into the sewage, which are flowing into the poor water, etc. So we need to improve the hygiene. Okay. Basically the governance needs to become more proactive. Okay. The standards, citizens living standards need to be improved, and the accessibility to the quality healthcare is needed to be provided to them. So all these are the steps that are to be taken into the long term in order to save India from the antimicrobial resistance. So this is all, guys, about this particular article. Okay. Please note down all these points. Fine. You can download it from our Telegram PDF. Now moving to the next article. Tapping technology for multilingual learning. Now this particular article will be important for GS paper number 1. GS paper number 1. Okay, society, social issues, linguistic diversity of India. GS paper number 1, linguistic diversity of India. Now understand, guys, first of all, why this particular article has been published. So now just basically 21 of the February, that is today, it is celebrated as the International Mother Language Day. It is celebrated as International Mother Language Day, and the theme of the 2022, it is the theme is using technology for multilingual learning, challenges and opportunities. So because of the International Mother Language Day, this particular article has been published. Now this particular article provides this particular thing, that when we talk about the languages are very important. Why? Because languages, they are the key bridges that ensure cultural and civilizational continuity. So the cultural ideas to the next generation, okay, the heritages, the traditions, they are passed to the next generation through the languages. Clear? So therefore the languages are important, and they ensure as the cultural bridges. Over the past few years, the globalization and westernization has come, and because of that particular thing, what had happened, many of the local dialects that were there, they are getting lost. The English is becoming the mainstream language, and many other big languages, they are becoming mainstreamed, and the dialects and the language is spoken by small peoples, they are getting lost. This particular year, I already told you that the theme is using technology for multilingual multilingual learning. The central idea is that how we can use the technology to enrich the teaching learning experience at the multilingual level. Many a times, because there are neither the good teachers nor there are the good pedagogies, people lose interest in learning the native languages. So how to use a technology so that learning experience can be enhanced, it is something that we need to explore. Moreover, just in 2020, the national education policy was launched, and the national education policy has also encouraged the use of the mother tongue till the class 5, or if possible till the class 8th. So NEP has also promoted the idea of using the promoting the mother tongues. Now, moreover, it has also been provided that, guys, actually there are a lot of cognitive benefits if a child is being taught in the mother tongue or the mother language. Clear? This particular thing has been provided. Moreover, as a part of the NEP 2020, it was also provided that into many of the engineering colleges also the engineering courses will be offered into the regional languages or the mother tongues. Now, in this particular direction, when the survey was conducted by the All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, nearly 44% of the students, they have voted into the favor that they would like to learn the engineering into their mother tongue. So basically there is a lot of support for such kind of thing. In this particular direction, in order to provide the in order to provide the graduation courses in the mother tongue to the students, what has happened, there is a collaboration that has also been signed between the AICTE, that is the All India Council for Technical Education, and the IITs, and many of the courses they are translating into the mother tongues. Okay, so onto the e-learning platform Swayam, fine, many of the courses they are being translated into the regional languages. This is an important development that has come. Okay, now when we talk about, guys, one important data here, please note it down. According to the United Nations, we are losing a language every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks one language is being lost, fine. And at least 43% of the estimated 6,000 languages spoken in the world are in the danger. When we talk about India, there are 121 languages that are being spoken into the India. Basically, more than 121 languages which is spoken by more than 10,000 people. Such 121 languages are there in India. 22 of them are specified into the 8th schedule. Okay, clear? In addition to that, India has 270 mother languages as well. Okay, so a lot of linguistic diversity is there in India. We need to protect our such kind of diversity. It has been supported into this particular article. So that is all about it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now, the budget spells green shoots for agri subsectors. Okay, now this particular article, it is talking about the budgetary allocation for the agriculture sector that has come into the latest budget. So this article is providing that actually when we talk about the agriculture, there are two of the subsectors within the agriculture sector, that is the livestock and the fisheries, which are very important. Now, agriculture over the past few years have registered a very robust growth. Even into the COVID-19 pandemic, 3.6% growth rate was there into the agriculture. When the technically all the other sectors were going into a recession or were recording a negative growth, agriculture was showing the positive growth. So agriculture has been a very promising sector of India. Now within the agriculture, 33% of the GVA, 33% of the value addition, GVA, gross value addition of the agriculture, comes from the livestock and the fisheries. So they are very important subsectors of the agriculture. Now basically it has been provided that in this particular budget, to actually enhance the livestock and the fishery sector, government has increased the allocation for two of the initiatives. There is the National Livestock Mission, and then there is the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Now the National Livestock Mission is for the livestock, for the animal husbandry, and Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana is for the fishery sector. For both of these schemes, the allocations have been considerably enhanced, which is a positive step, which is a good step. Moreover, for the food processing also, for the food processing industry also, the government has provided for the PLI scheme, production linked incentive scheme. So the food processing industries, they will be provided additional incentive if they are going for the additional food processing. Now this will also be giving a boost to the micro food processing industries in India. Then there is also the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. Now the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, it is a umbrella scheme for providing the support to the agriculture sector. For the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, the allocation has been increased by 400%, which is a very important development. Even under the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, the state governments are provided a lot of flexibility that they can support the agriculture by taking their regional diversities in account. So the state governments have been given a lot of autonomy here. Now further here it has been provided that however there are some other schemes for whom actually the funds have not been provided in such a way as it was expected. Very less increase in budget is there for some other schemes. For example, the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Now this Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana is for the irrigation. Okay, it is to improve the farm productivity. Then the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Okay, under the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, in an organic way the farm produce is to be developed. Okay, now here if we see, then basically here we see, so what had happened, these particular schemes have been brought under the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So you increase the funding of Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana by 400%, and these important big schemes have been brought here. So at the end of the day, the funding that has been given, it is not very much high, it is just marginal. Then there is the PM Asha. Under the PM Asha, the support is enhanced MSP money support, minimum support price is provided. Now here also less allocation has been given into the budget. Now therefore guys, this particular article provides that when we talk about agriculture and rural development are both linked. If agriculture will be in a good condition, if the allocation will be given for the agriculture, then by the multiplier effect the rural economy or the rural development will come. Here it has been provided that had that 40% of the income which is being derived from the wages by the agriculture households. Okay, it has been provided that the 40% of the income of the rural household is coming from the agriculture. So therefore agriculture and the rural economy are in conjunction. Moreover, there are other schemes also. For example, the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana is there for providing the road connectivity to the villages. Then Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is there. Okay, then there is a National Rural Livelihood Mission. Now these particular schemes also not for agriculture sector, but they are for the rural development. Here also the allocations have been very much less. Then specifically if we talk about a scheme that is the MG Narega, which have been the lifeline for the rural economy into the times of pandemic, because the large number of people, they went back to their homes because of the reverse migration. So the MG Narega was a backbone. Now for the MG Narega, just 25 there is a 25% decrease that had happened. So such kind of things should have been addressed. Now there is a transformative step that has been provided. So basically government has announced the Kisan drones. Okay, the Kisan drones, they will be used for many purposes. The Kisan drones will be used for settling the claims under the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. For recording the land, the Kisan drones will be used. This is a good step that has happened. Moreover, the startups are also being encouraged to improve the value chains of the farm produce. So this is something that has happened, and there needs to be the more and more adoption of the modern technology, because the modern technology can bring a large number of solutions for the agriculture, and the modern technology into the agriculture can also attract the youth from the rural sectors also. So this is something that has happened. So the budget is actually into the right direction, though the funding has been reduced, but the implementation of the initiatives such as the Kisan drones, in providing the technology into the agriculture, it is needed to be implemented into the right spirit. So that is all about this particular article. And now guys, we'll be moving to the next article. Now, Center moots policy on the synthetic biology. Okay, so this particular article, it is talking about the topic issue of the synthetic biology. Now first of all, let's understand that what do we mean by the synthetic biology. So guys, the synthetic biology, it can simply be understood as a process by which we are engineering or re-engineering the organisms. We are engineering the biological processes so that they can bring more of productivity. Now synthetic biology, it is actually a very big it is actually a very big discipline. One example of synthetic biology we can take, that what we do actually, there is the BT cotton that is there. BT cotton that is there. Now in the BT cotton, what we are doing basically here, the cotton is being induced with the BT, that is the Bacillus thuringiensis. Now Bacillus thuringiensis, when it is induced into the cotton, cotton itself produces the insecticides, and the insect infestations that happened into the cotton, that is the bollworm, the ball worm. Now this ball worm infects the cotton. Now the cotton, the BT cotton, it is producing the insecticides, and these ball worms are repelled, so basically making the cotton as resistant to such kind of insects, resistant to such kind of ball worms. What it is the synthetic biology that has happened. Then there are other purposes of the also of the synthetic biology. Now what happens, there is the gene editing systems that have evolved over the years. You might have heard the CRISPR technology. So into the CRISPR technology, Cas9, which is a type of a protein, it is used, and it is used as a molecular scissor. By this, what we can do, we can go for the DNA editing. We can go for the DNA editing by using this CRISPR. Now the animals, plants, and even people's defective genes, they can be sliced and they can be replaced into the CRISPR by using the Cas9. Okay, so by this particular thing, we can go for the many interventions. So basically the synthetic biology is actually a very big field. Okay, it is a very big field. There are many of the different kind of applications where we use the biological processes, we'll re-engineer the biological processes, we'll be using the different biological organisms in a different way, in a mutated way, to achieve the different advantages. Advantages in industry could be there, advantages into the food system could be there. Clear? So there is actually, we needed to develop the synthetic biology. When we talk about a synthetic biology, it has been provided that synthetic biology is one of the top 10 breakthrough technologies that have been seen in the new industrial revolution. There are a lot of benefits of such kind of things that come. Now guys, we actually talked about working onto the synthetic biology into the 12th 5-year plan. The duration of 12th 5-year plan was from 2012 to 2017, and as a part of the 12th 5-year plan, India had established a task force on system biology and synthetic biology in 2011. Now this body, it provided that there could be a large number of potential benefits. There could be the large number of potential benefits from synthetic biotechnology in the biofuels, bioremediation, biosensors, food, health. Okay, a large number of application could be there. Okay, and in this particular direction we needed to work. But guys, till then nothing has happened, nothing much has happened. The parliament in 2013 cleared the Biotechnology Regulation Authority of India bill and provided that there will be an independent regulator which will be dealing with this particular matter, that how how into the biomedical sciences or how the synthetic biology can be used for the different kind of purposes. Is it clear? But till then nothing has happened. Right now there is a ban on the commercial BT brinjal. Okay, when we talk about the BT brinjal, in the brinjal also the basically bioengineering was carried, but it has not been cleared. So basically India came out with the policy way back in 2012 into the 12th 5-year plan, but we have not worked actively on that particular kind of direction. Now what this particular article is providing, that recently a compilation document has been released. So recently a compilation document has released, and this under this particular compilation document, it has been indicated that India is working onto the synthetic biology, and soon onto the direction of the synthetic biology we will be coming out with an overarching scheme or an overarching document. So this is something that has come. Fine. So this is guys all about this particular article. Please understand this topic of the synthetic biology. That is all about it. And now we'll move to the next article. Leprosy detection fell during pandemic report. Okay, so this particular article will be important for GS paper number 2, issues related to health. Now first of all, when we talk about the leprosy, it is a disease which is also called as the Hansen disease, where a person who got leprosy, he develops some kind of deformities on his skin, and because of that there is a lot of social exclusion of the people who got the leprosy, and there is the ostracization also that is there. Now when we talk about the leprosy, it is a bacterial infection which is caused by the bacterium called as Mycobacterium leprae. So because of the Mycobacterium leprae, this leprosy is caused. Now this particular, I said that this particular disease, it basically takes a form where a person's skin becomes deformed, and then a social exclusion happens. The transmission of the leprosy happens by airborne droplets. So a person who is having leprosy, because of his air, because of the droplets, okay, of that person, another person can get affected. There is a cure of the leprosy, that is the multi drug therapy. Okay, by that the leprosy can be treated. Now India had taken up the national leprosy control program in 1955, and in this particular direction there is also the national leprosy eradication program that was launched by the government. Okay, and on the leprosy we have reduced the cases of leprosy. But what has happened now in the 2020, as the pandemic had come, since then we are not going for the active surveillance for the people, we are not detecting the cases of the leprosy. In this particular direction, the Leprosy Mission Trust of India has provided that because of the pandemic, many of the states have suspended the activities with respect to the detection of leprosy. Even the people are not going to the hospitals for their multi drug therapy that has been there. So government needs to be more careful here, and if government did not become careful, then the development as the achievement in reduction of leprosy that has happened, it might go in vain. So this is something that has been provided. However, apart from that, how many cases, how many detections were there, in which state how many cases came, such microscopic data is not important. Okay, so that is all about this article, and now we'll move to the next article. Very few buses accessible to the disabled. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the disabled people, in order to provide them the justice, government has to take some special steps. In this particular direction, the Accessible India campaign or Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan was announced. Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan was announced in 2016. Now, as per this Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan, the disabled people, they are to be provided enhanced accessibility. Accessibility to the public places is to be provided. Accessibility with respect to the books is to be provided them. Clear? So, soft accessibility as well as hard accessibility was to be provided to the people. This we agreed into the Sugamya Bharat Abhiyan that was launched in 2016, or the Accessible India campaign. At that point of time, government also provided this thing, that the government buildings, they need to be made disabled friendly, and in this particular direction certain targets were taken. Now what has happened, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment had provided certain data. According to the ministry, it has been provided that out of the total public buildings that were identified that they will be made accessible to the disabled people, 48% of the buildings, they have been already made accessible. Target was to make 50% of the public buildings accessible, but 48% of the public buildings have been made accessible. Then it was provided that actually when we talk about the public transportation or public buses, 25% of the public buses have to be made disabled friendly, but 8% target has been achieved. Clear? Now when we talk about the Accessible India campaign, okay, it was launched in 2015. Sorry, I mentioned here 2016. It was launched in 2015. So this particular campaign was launched in 2015. Okay, and the deadline was originally deadline was to be reached by 2018, that it was revised to 2020, then it was revised to 2022, but even up till now the entire target has not been fulfilled, though in converting the public buildings for the disabled, making them disabled accessible, it has achieved, but in the public buses such target has not been achieved. So guys, this is something as how the government schemes are actually moving on. So in GS paper number 2, when we talk about, there is the critical appraisal of the government schemes and government policies. So in GS paper number 2, when even we talk about such kind of themes, that how government is moving, we can talk about it. Moreover, in GS paper number 2, vulnerable sections of Indian society are there, and into the vulnerable section, the disabled people are a very important component. So there also we can use such kind of data. So that is all about it, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now this particular article, guys, it is talking about the recent issue that had happened into the Munich Security Conference. So in the Munich Security Conference, the Minister of External Affairs, he had briefed the countries. So basically, as he was talking into this Munich Security Conference, what happened here? The Bangladesh Finance Minister, he provided that whether the countries such as India or whether the Quad countries can offer the developmental loans as the China is offering. So can the developmental loans by the Quad countries match what the China is offering? So there the Minister of External Affairs had provided that it is not about the money that the China can give, but the recipient countries, they need to rethink the impractical projects that they are taking, and the which is actually being financed by the China. So actually the Minister of External Affairs had made a very good observation here. He had said, he had taken the example of the Sri Lanka. He had said that into the Sri Lanka, China has provided a lot of money, and the Hambantota port and the Matala airport has been developed by taking the money from the China. Over the year, the Sri Lanka was not able to pay back the money that they have taken from the China. And what happened? Then they have to hand over for a 99-year lease the Hambantota port to the China. Now it has been provided that handing over your sovereign project to another country is obviously not in interest with that home country. Moreover, not only for the home country it is a problem, for other international community also it is a problem. Is it clear? So basically you are just asking the money from the China, and China is giving you a money for a lot of impractical projects. What are the impractical projects? There are the airports where not even a single plane comes. There are the ports where not even a single ship comes. So such impractical projects are being made. China is giving the money, and then China is taking over such kind of impractical projects, as it has happened into the Sri Lanka. Moreover, it has also been provided into this particular direction that over the years, what happens, the debt that is given, it is converted into the equity, and then that equity becomes something else. So this is the problem for the entire world community. So before asking unnecessary, before comparing the Quad countries with the China in terms of loan assistance, basically the countries needs to first of all evaluate that which projects are practical for them, and for which projects they should actually take the money. So this is something that has been provided. So guys, a very good kind of an observation has been there. Now these kind of developments you need to keep on reading in order to build your understanding with respect to the international affairs and international issues that are going on. So that is all guys about this particular article. So with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. That is all. Now guys, we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves, and please do answer the MCQ questions that have been asked. So that is all for today. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button if you have liked the video. Thank you. Take care of